Hi, everybody. This is the baseball. Hi, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion. Your host, the Hut, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut, too. And hope you like this video and subscribe. I'm talking about Jacob deGrom. Remember Jacob deGrom used to pitch for the Mets? He pitched for the Mets for a long time. He was with the Mets since, it was from 2014 to 2022. A two-time Cy Young Award winner. Pitched in the World Series for the Mets. And, of course, won the 2014 Rookie of the Year in the National League. Well, he signed with the Rangers this last year, and right after that, it sort of seemed like, well, I didn't really want to leave the Mets. Someday I'll talk about it. Why I left. Well, here I got some interesting comments, and it goes into that breath. Well, it's from MLB.com, MLB Rumors, MLBTradeRumors.com. I'll get it right. While the Rangers have gone 7-0 so far to the postseason, ace right-hander Jacob deGrom has been forced to watch his club's success from home after undergoing Tommy John surgery back in June. The longtime Mets ace and righty sat down with Joel Sherman of the New York Post recently to discuss his recovery process 4 months removed from the surgery. Fortunately, it appears that his rehab process is going rather well. A typical timeline in deGrom's situation would be somewhere between 14 and 18 months before returning to a big league mound, but deGrom expressed optimism they could return to the Rangers at the earlier end of that window of August 24 as a stated goal. Of course, there's a long road ahead to reach that point, though Sherman notes that deGrom has regained full range of motion at this point and will be able to return to throwing shortly after the new year, for mound and sight come spring training. If he is indeed healthy and effective come this stretch run of 24, he surely provide a massive boost to the Rangers club that dominated for much of the 20. See, I already talked about this. I mean, the Rangers right now are in the postseason. But this thing with deGrom actually kind of is amusing to me as a Mets fan. All right, now here's from SNY.com. Former Mets ace Jacob deGrom pushes back on a narrative he wanted out of New York. I don't like it when people say that because that's not true. Now let me read just an overview of this. Last October, Jacob deGrom helped the Mets stave off elimination in Game 2 of their wildcard series against the San Diego Padres. It would be his last start with the organization. This year, he's sitting in the Texas Rangers dugouts as his teammates play a 2-0 series lead in the ALCS against the Houston Astros. Now this video will be going up on Thursday. I don't know what the outcome of that game is as I do this video. Just 2 wins away from a World Series berth. Of course, the 35-year-old isn't pitching after undergoing his second Tommy John surgery earlier this year, cutting the start of his Rangers career short. Quote, "It stinks," deGrom told Joel Sherman of the New York Post on Tuesday. "I want to do what I love to do. Last offseason, deGrom opted out of his deal with the Mets to test free agency. That's the key. He had a contract with the Mets, and he opted out of it. Okay? He could have stayed here with the Mets for that 1 more year and then tested free agency, but he did not do that. He wanted to test free agency because he wanted to leave. He would eventually agree to a 5-year, $185 million contract with the Rangers. He would also recommend Texas to Max Scherzer when the Mets starter was debating whether to waive his no-trade clause at the deadline. Scherzer would waive it and rejoin his old teammate. They were teammates for a year. Half a year of that. 2 months for that. With the Rangers. Scherzer was set to start Game 3 of the ALCS. I would say this. If Scherzer gets beat, I might do a video making fun of him. deGrom admitted to the Post that he was surprised with the Mets becoming sellers after that 101-win season. But when the topic of whether he became more withdrawn from the club or that he couldn't wait to escape New York, he pushed back. Quote, "I don't like it when people say that because that's not true. You know me pretty well. I like the pitch, and that's about it. I understand the other stuff that comes with it. But what I want to do is take the field, play, and then get ready for the next time I play. I felt like I did that in New York. Huh? I'm getting a little bit older. I believe I can pitch." Now, here's the thing. He said in this article at one point that that he liked Texas better. He actually pushed back. He completely, totally like contradicted himself. He said, I like being in New York. I never said I was leaving New York. But Jake opted out. It wasn't a situation where he had a contract, it ran out. He opted out. He wanted to leave. They say he wanted to test it. I never thought for a second that he was going to stay with the Mets. I felt that for over a year and a half. And when the media talked to Jake after the season, folks, after the season, when the media came to him when the season was over, after Game 3, he didn't want to discuss it. Instead of him saying, I love it here, I want to be here, but I want to test out the market. He never said that. He said, I don't want to talk about it right now. It's not the right time. If you notice, that just use a comparison, Pete Alonso has said that he loves it here. He loves it here. You know, he loves being a Met. He loves playing here. He loves the fans. He loves everything about being with the New York Mets. I think he's going to test the market as well. And I think the Mets have a very good chance to sign him. But there is a different vibe I get from Alonso. Alonso's a little bit murkier to me than deGrom. I never thought for a second deGrom was going to stay here. And I took quite a few hits from a lot of people saying that I was crazy. And I never thought he was going to the Braves either. I never believed that for a second. I said he was probably going to go to the Rangers, and that's where he went. A lot of that, the reason he left the Mets was more of a cultural thing. You know, he's a Southern guy. He didn't want to. He was getting tired of being up here. I don't blame him. You know, he's got a young family. He didn't want his family being around this nonsense up here. And there's no tax down in Texas. I don't blame him. He didn't want. He still won't admit that that's the reason why he left. You know, if you want to leave, you want to leave. Nobody cares. I don't care. You know. But he's gonna have a very difficult time getting in the Hall of Fame because of these injuries that he's had now. He's not pitched a full season since, 2019? It's a long time. He didn't pitch a full year last year, obviously. This year he didn't. 2020 he didn't because of the lockdown. He didn't do it in 21. So he has not pitched a full season, and then he'll be going into next year not having pitched a full season. 5 years. 5 years, folks. And he won't be able to go into the off season and come back and be ready to pitch a full season until 2025. That's 6 years. He's going to be 36 years old next year when the season opens up. You know, he's not a spring chicken. So his chances of getting into the Hall of Fame are starting to dwindle. And he will not be going in as a Ranger. That's for damn sure. He'll be going in as a Met. And he does not have 100 wins yet. Okay, if he were to go in, he'd probably be have the lowest number of wins of a pitcher. And like I said, he will not pitch. He's not going to pitch most. He didn't pitch most of this year. He's not going to pitch most of next year. He's not going to be able to pitch a full season until 2025. And he's got 2 more years on his contract. He'll be 37 years old going into 2025. 37, 38, 39. With his injury history, do you expect him to put up Hall of Fame numbers over those 3 years? No. You know, and then he's talking about how he doesn't know how he's going to be able to pitch at lower velocity, because he's talked about in this interview about pitching with a lower velocity of throwing 94 miles an hour. And he's concerned that if he gives up a home run 94, then maybe he'll try to ramp it up to 100. And how's his arm going to hold up? Now, I would mention that 2 years ago, when he hurt his arm, it was a bit of a mystery what was going on. And in fact, Sandy Alderson, the Mets' former president and former general manager, blurted out that Jake had a problem with his elbow, that he had torn a tendon in his elbow. And Jake was very angry that got blurted out. I think that's one of the reasons why he left too. I don't think he was too happy with that. So I think he kind of looked at himself as losing some of the value of how he pitched. Now, when he came back last year, he pitched great. That first month that he came back in August, he was untouchable, unhittable. But September was lousy. I mean, he got his ass kicked in Oakland, which that never should have happened. He didn't pitch well in Atlanta. He pitched admirably against the Padres in Game 2, but he didn't have his best stuff. But Jake has always pitched well, even when he didn't have his best stuff. He battles. That's his biggest thing that he has going from, aside from the physical talent. When it comes to Jacob deGrom, he battles you. He'll battle you. He doesn't give up in a bat. He doesn't give in to you, you have to fight to get a hit off of him. That's his biggest attribute as a pitcher, is that he is extremely difficult to pitch, to hit against. Even if he doesn't have his best stuff. Because he'll battle you. He is a grinder as a pitcher. That's the one thing that's missed here with the Mets, is that but I would mention this. 2018 the Mets weren't good. 2019 they weren't good. They had a good record. They finished with a good record in 2019, but they weren't good for most of that season. 2018 they were terrible. So really, the Mets could win with them, or they could win without him. Or they could lose with them or lose without him. He didn't make that big of a difference, quite frankly, as great as he pitched. But I would say this, though, and I've mentioned this. The Mets' 21 season basically collapsed once he hurt his elbow right before the All-Star break. And then within a week, they lost Francisco Lindor. That really destroyed that season. So not having him there, he was sort of like a Superman to the rest of the team, untouchable guy. They kind of had a sense of invincibility when he was out there. But once he got hurt, that was the end of it. And really, his career has not been the same since 21, because he's not been able to stay healthy. And it's a shame, because he's such a great pitcher, and he's a good guy. I think a lot of this is some kind of guilt-ridden kind of feelings. He should just move on. We've all moved on. I know I have. I'll talk about it here, but I don't like lose sleep that he's not here. You don't want to be here? Bye-bye. I think a lot of people feel that way. And I think people watching this video will probably be a little annoyed by his crying about not being. And it's not the first time this year we've heard about him not, him complaining about how people reacted to it. We all know why he left. He just didn't want to be here. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Don't feel guilty about it. Well, you let me know what you think about this video. Of course, this is the Baseball Hut too. Talk about all kinds of different things, including our Mets and everybody else. I'm going to talk about every team. Every team is going to get a little video here this off season. Talk about baseball cards, anything that's going on in Major League Baseball. We'll talk about it here. And I would mention this. I don't like lists. Once in a while, I'll do a group of teams that I'll talk about. But you're not going to see me doing these boring videos on lists. I know a lot of these YouTubers love these lists. It's boring. We just talk here. We have discussions here. Real discussions. Not this monkey crap of top 5 guys, top 10 guys. Get the hell out of here. We talk about good stuff here. And I'll continue to do that. I enjoy this, and hopefully you like this. I'm going to keep doing it, and we're going to have fun here, as always, either on here, or the Baseball Hut 2, or the Prospect Hut. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. I'll see you later.